We hear about the eight Beatitudes. Blessed are so and so, they will, such and such. They're really great statements. They give us eight wonderful virtues to strive for. But in my opinion, the one particular item kind of is the one that the rest hinge on. So we have this virtue, this beatitude that says, blessed are the pure of heart. Our motivations are based on what's inside of us. So if we are not pure of heart, then we'll be subject to something else. We'll be subject to our fears, or we'll be subject to whatever other concerns or pressing issues push us to one particular practice or another. So we need to strive primarily to be pure of heart. Even without purity of heart, how can we accept even the rest of the Beatitudes if we don't have that purity of heart? Because they won't make any sense. That purity of heart, that childlike trust in God, and the pursuit of good, pursuing good with no consideration for our own personal gain. That's where we want to go. But how do we achieve that? My page isn't turning. Maybe if we open our eyes and if we look, and instead of seeing what we might ordinarily see, we strive to see the good, we choose to see the good. Maybe by consuming things that are not harmful to our hearts, pursuing reading of our heroes and heroines in history that have exemplified these Beatitudes. And of course, through prayer, when we take time aside to separate ourselves from the world, we have an opportunity to regain our purity of heart that we might have lost in the course of our daily life. So let's move on to the others. Poverty of spirit, meekness, mercy, and peacekeeping. I group these together because they all, in a sense, address our inclination to pride. When we hold the perspective that in the grand scheme of things, we are really, really small. There is always going to be someone who can teach us something. And each and every one of us has the capability of doing grave harm to someone. When we accept those two primary precepts, we can walk in the truth of who we are and not lord our successes over others, not regard other people as inferior, and treat people with the generosity and the mercy that God asks us to share with the world. When we desire righteousness, moving on to the rest of the three Beatitudes, we're driven to do two things: intercede and change, or challenge. Interceding, of course, is that coming from the heart of offering what we can to people who are in difficult situations. And if our heart isn't in the right place, we won't do these things correctly. We won't intercede and we won't challenge in a way that can really affect change. But when we pursue real, true righteousness, we can begin to mourn over situations that we see. We can see them, and then we can see them for what they are, and we can see them for the pain that's within them. Not falling into depression or hopelessness, but really, truly, from the heart, bringing compassionate intercession. And even when we don't realize it, even when people don't know that we're doing this, by interceding, by considering difficult situations, we bring grace into those situations. And now we can look at the situations and say, am I a change agent? Is there something that I should be doing? Should I be challenging something? And we're able to discern better with purity of heart whether or not we should walk into a situation. When we look at the possibility of effecting change, that's where we then might encounter that persecution, that last beatitude. Blessed are those who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness. That's where the rubber meets the road. Are we going to fight, or are we going to stand back and be complacent and let things happen? Well, let's hope in God that we stand firm and that we recognize when we should accept a challenge and be a change agent, and when we should allow other things to take place. I'll take a little example from a situation in my life just a couple of days ago. I walked into a building. This building is a place where I go often to find solitude, to find myself alone with the opportunity to consider, am I going in the right direction? To consider what is most important in my life, to consider my spiritual health and what I should be doing. In this particular day, though, I walked into this situation where there was a party in the house. Now, by social distancing standards, party means there were 5 or so people in the space going about business that needed to be tended to. And as I walked in, I felt like I was accosted by frustration and anger instead of being met by the peace that I had hoped to find. Sadly, unfortunately, I found myself reacting to that anger in kind, affirming the anger, affirming the frustrations, instead of trying to find a way to put a positive light on the situations that were being expressed. I failed to uphold those ideals and those beatitudes, those virtues that we strive for. Peace, mercy, meekness, poverty of spirit. You might ask, well, how could I have done anything differently? Well, I could have prepared for that situation, but because I was in a hurry, I really didn't take the time to consider, even though I know that it might be one way or another when I go into that situation. People may be there, people may not. But I didn't take the time to prepare for encountering something other than that solitude that I sought. So the net of that is that in order to live these beatitudes, in order to actively pursue these beautiful virtues, we have to be diligent, be alert, and be forgiving. And those are the 3 phases: prepare for a situation, be actively involved in the situation and alert. And then when we finish that situation, when we walked out of it, take away positives. For example, I learned that when I go out, I might have to wear a mask or gloves, so I carry them with me. If I am asked to do so, I use them in humility without resistance. And afterwards, when I complete my mission, if I've encountered anything that's unpleasant, I try to forgive, knowing that everyone is under stress. They're being unkind potentially because of a pain that they're suffering. The human race, we are billions of individuals, and none of us are the same. Every one of us is unique, each with our own environmental factors, perspectives, challenges, and our fears. The spectrum of our personalities and perspectives ranges the entire universe. And in general, I find that we're just really not very sensitive to one another. We're so often just wrapped up in what's my mission, what's my goal, what am I trying to accomplish? And, everybody else better get out of the way because I've got things to do. And we don't realize it oftentimes. We're judging people by our standards. When we strive to remember that human condition, that every one of us is different, and can prepare for meeting one another in those differences, we can love past them. We can be far more generous and far more merciful, rather than judging those that we might judge according to, did they do enough? Are they doing too much? What are they doing wrong according to the Bible of me? So really, as we step out now in phase 1 back into our communities, let's prepare for those situations, for meeting people who are different from us. Let's actively prepare for people we might encounter, recognizing the hardships that we've all suffered in different ways, And let's really try to be sensitive to one another and to be extra generous, extra merciful, and extra kind as we venture back out into our communities. So be safe and be aware. Check the comments for today's song pick and leave a comment and share so that our streamers know we're watching. Have a wonderful, beautiful day.